In this video, we're going to walk through how to create an email using the CharityEngine email creation tool. To get to this section, to create an email, you want to go to Campaigns, the purple area, and under Create and Push, go to Creative. Once you're on Creative, you select Create New. Here you'll be able to choose Email Builder, so click on that. So now we've got our email creation module. Very easy to use drag and drop tool that makes it simple to build emails for anybody of any skill. I'm going to go ahead and close that, give us a little bit more screen to work with, and I'm going to close that to add even a little bit more. So the first thing we have here is our plain email template where we can drag and drop different pieces. I can drag an image in, I can or buttons, whatever I want. We're going to choose a template. You recall in our previous video, we created this template right here, which has our green header and then our green footer. But I'm actually going to use a different template. That's the beauty, is you can create all sorts of templates and reuse them. I want this black template, which is a black header up here and then a slightly gray footer at the bottom. Now we're going to fill in the content in between. So a couple things to note here. You've got your image content, you've got text content, and we even have things like buttons and so forth. And all of those are viewable here under content. So whenever you want to add a new component like that, you just slide it over. Text, image, buttons, a divider, and so forth, even video. Each of these is a section called a structure. And you can see this is a section which has an image in it. I go to this structure, and you can see I have different content blocks within it. This text content block, this text content, this one, the button, the image. These are all content, but they're all part of a structure. And that's created over here. And to create new structures, like if I wanted to create one right there, I just slide it over. Let's say I'm going to make that a text one. I do so just like that. So now I've got a new structure on top of that structure and below that structure. And that's how I might add things like a new button that's going to go right here. And if I decide I don't want that, I click in it, gives me my trash can or my copy. I go ahead and trash can. We'll do the same for here. And now we've got just our plain structure, and I can delete that structure if I want. All right, so the first thing we're going to focus on is adding our image. And to do that, we're just going to click on this box, which is an image box. When I do that, my image panel appears over here. Now we'll get into what all these components are, but the first thing we're just going to focus on is changing our image, which is where we're going to find our image in our image library. Now you'll see in the CharityEngine image library, you've got three options. First is to upload a picture from your desktop. Second is to do something like import from another online source that may have pictures. Or you can search free photos. And this allows you free, high-quality images to use as part of your email. I'm going to search alpaca, and you can see I've got all these great options for selecting an alpaca image to use in my email. So I'm going to go ahead and select this photo right here that I've already selected, my alpaca, and I'm going to click Insert. And now I've got my image of my alpaca. Now let's look at what we've got here when I click on this area. This is my row. So we see row properties and column properties. My row is currently a slight gray. You can see ED. That's the hex color for my background. I'm going to change that and make that white. So to do that, I just click on that box. That's going to give me a couple of pre-selected colors. I'm going to go with white, and I click white. If you have a custom color you want to use, you can enter it right there in that section if you know the hex color. You can even do things like that to create different background colors. So you've got whatever you might want this to be, so a great way to add color. But again, I just want to stick with good old-fashioned white. The next thing, you can also actually, and let me point out, have a row background image. So right now my image is in front of this area. I could click this, and now I could change the image and put an image behind as my background. Now, that is one way you can get text in front of an image. The negative to that is that background images don't show up in all email clients. Things like Outlook, when it's on a PC, has very strict rules around what it will present. So you may lose that background image. Even downloading images won't work. So we recommend you really consider whether that's something you want to do. My advice is if you're going to add text to an image, you're better off putting that text directly on the image and uploading that text in the image. And we'll show you how to do that in just a minute. But anyways, we've got our capabilities here. I'm going to close that. I don't need the row background. And I want to edit my image. So I'm going to go to Apply, Effects, and More. Now this is a great little tool here. This gives me my photo editor, and I can do all kinds of stuff. So I can go to Effects and I can add different color tonations, right? And then I say, oh, I like that, but I want to make it slightly less reddish, so I can slide that down and do a little editing, click Apply, and then I've done that. So there's all kinds of things you can do to improve your images here. You can add a meme. So I want to add a meme. I write not a llama. So little fun things you can do if you want to get creative. But I'm not going to do that here. And the last thing I could do is even play around with stickers. And this tool is fun to use. I can give them a little Groucho Marx, eyeglass and mustache, and you know what? Maybe a fez to make them more entertaining. So you can be silly and play around and do all kinds of stuff. We're going to take this a little bit more seriously and not do that. But the one thing I do want to do is crop the image. I can resize and crop images. In this case, I want to crop it because I want to get rid of some of this space up top. So to do that, real simple, I click on Crop, and then I just slide that down. And now my image is a little bit more horizontal, which will look good in my email content. I click Apply. And now it's created an image at that sizing. I still have the original image I can go back to. This is a new image with this with these edits. So I've got save, click that. I'm going to close it. And then I don't need to hit save again. Every time I save it, we'll create a new image. So I'm just going to close because we do know we already saved our work. Now it's still got the original image. So to get rid of that, I'm going to want to go to Change Image. Okay, and now I've got my new image. I insert it, and you can see I've got my slightly edited image. So that's how we go around adding new images and making edits to it. Now, I've got my text down here. So I want to add actually a nice headline there and maybe a button. So to do that, I go back to my structure. I slide my structure over. And my content is going to be text, and then I'm going to say, will you find this alpaca a home? Okay. And you'll see I've got my menu tools up here, which make it easy to edit. Anytime I enter a box that's got text, it's going to have my menu tools. If you do go into one and there aren't the menu tools, just click out and then go back in and you'll find them. So I'm going to first of all center this. I'm going to make this text a little bit larger so it fills the space. And maybe I'm going to bold this portion. All right, so I got a nice little text thing here. Now I can add a new structure. I want to add a button. I can add a new structure, or I can just slide that button right under here. And I'm going to make this give today. Okay, click off. I like how that looks. Go back to my button, and I can do edits to it, change the font and the size, etc. When we go over to our panel on this side, you'll see with the button, I have my background color. So maybe I want a different background color. Maybe I want it to be gray, or I want it to be this light gray, or I'm not sure what color I want it to be. So I can go ahead and play around with this and see if that's the coloration I want, and find the right kind of thing for me. I think that may be the color I want. So I'm going to leave it there. And remember, I've got my hex color. I can always go back if I want to match this up to other colorations. And you'll see what I'm talking about in a little bit. The text color is white. I can change the text color just like we've done before. I can make it blue, but I'm good with white. Line height, border radius, these are all things as you play around with it, you'll get comfortable knowing what they do. The best way to learn this tool is just create emails in it, play around and get to know it. I can also link it, which is what you want a button to do, obviously. So right now it's set to, it's set to web page, open a web page. I can send an email. I can make a call if they click the button. I can send an SMS text. These are probably the most likely to do, send an email or open web page. We're going to go with open web page. We're going to make it so when somebody clicks that button, it's going to go to CharityEngine.net. All right? So that part is now all set. And I'm actually going to go ahead and create my work so I can save it. Important to save it as you go along. You don't want to do something that you can't get out of. So we're going to name this, the subject of this, which you need when you create and save, is going to be find an alpaca a home. Okay. Then we go down, scroll down to additional email settings, and we're going to name that here as well. We'll call this alpaca email. Okay. Now when I go to create, we've got the name. I can actually change it if I decided that wasn't a good name, alpaca email, but I'm going to leave it. Go ahead and save. And remember, I could actually make this a template for the future. Okay. If I wanted to, if I was always doing an email like this with the alpaca and new text, I could go ahead, click up here, go to save as template, and now this full thing would be a template every time I went to use it. So just something to keep in mind. Now, again, sliding things in is easy. A divider. Maybe I want to make this look a little classy. I drop in a divider. Now I've got a divider to divide these sections. I mentioned before that you don't want to, you might want to be hesitant to put text on top of an image. So the way I recommend doing it is actually put the text directly on the image. And to do that, let's change this image. I've actually already done it. So we go to change image. And you see alpaca with headline. I click on that, insert. And now, will you help find her a home becomes part of the image. And I don't have to worry about that not appearing when I go to send it. Since I don't need this anymore, I can actually delete this section. And now I've got will you help find her a home and give today. So we've got a pretty good email so far that we're working with. Let's go down to the text section. Now we've got these contents that to work with, and I could create a newsletter where I've got this and an image, and then I could do the opposite. If I want to create new sections, let's get rid of this section, start over. But I am actually, to make things easier, I'm going to copy this text. So Control C. I'm going to delete this section. Okay, and now I'm back to a plain section. So my structure. I want a section, this is how you're going to your breakdown. You could have 3 boxes, 4 boxes. I'm going to do 2 boxes split. Again, going to do this newsletter style. Okay. And I go to content, text, drop it in. And let's start by creating our first one, which is going to be tips for bringing an alpaca home. Okay, and then my content is going to be right there. Remember, we saved that. So go ahead and bold that, and now I've got that header. Now I like the look of that. I'm pretty happy. I could actually also add learn more, and then I can hyperlink that learn more. So I click on learn more. I go to insert edit link. Okay, and again, we'll just have this go to www.CharityEngine.net. Text will display will be learn more, and then I go okay, knows that it's an HTTP. It's confirming that. And now I've got learn more set here. And once maybe I don't want that blue. I want that to be a green color. So I do that. Oh, sorry, that was the wrong thing. Turn off the color there. Go ahead, and I want green text. All right? And maybe I want to give that its own bottom there. Now, I'm pretty good with this. This is what I want to do on this side. So I have, again, my copy button. So I copy that. It's created the same thing. And now I drag that up to this other content box. And we're going to change this and make it 5 reasons alpacas are great pets. Okay, now I got the same thing. Now I've got my hyperlink here. I'm going to probably want to send that to something else. So I click on hyperlink. Instead of CharityEngine.net, I'm going to send that to CharityEngine.net downloads. All right. Now when I do that, it's automatically going to set it back to blue. So I can do that, go back to, I can change the color. But one thing I also want to do, maybe you want to get rid of that link, that line underneath. So I can, here's a couple things I'm going to do. I go to insert link. See that underline link? I'm going to get rid of it. Click OK. Okay. Now we've got rid of that link. I'm going to make this bold. I'm going to make this green. I'll get rid of that last square. And so now I've created a hyperlink in the email that's totally clickable, ready to go. I click off. I'm good. I'm going to go ahead and update this. So far, I'm liking what I see. So let's do a quick preview of what our email looks like. We go to preview. And now we see how it looks in a desktop version. And now we see how it looks in a mobile version. So as you can see, it's automatically designed to be mobile responsive. That's the beauty of this tool. Anything you build is going to easily look great in a mobile capability. So that's the beauty of preview. You can always go check that out. Next thing I want to focus on is padding. Now, we look at this text right here, right? We're pretty good with it. We're happy with how it looks. Maybe I want it, it's a little too close to this side. And the other thing I want to do is actually, I like squared off justified. Maybe you're like me, so you might do that. But padding, what padding will do is you can see right here the line of delineation between these two boxes. There's very little padding. That's down here. So there's 10 points of padding around this box. We can edit that by going to more options. Now it's going to give us the ability to control the padding for all sides. So in this box, what I'm going to do is I want to move this over to a little bit. So I'm going to click this and we go to 25. And now that gives me a little bit of space there. And I can do the same thing, but I'm going to do it on the other side on this box. Go to more options. And my right, I'm going to space at 25. Okay, and now what I've done is, as you can see, I've created a little bit more space between that. So that's what padding does. It gives you the ability to control the buffer around it. So play around with that and get to know how that works. It's pretty important in building a cool email. So those are the basics of creating the content in an email. Again, we've got our structures. So if we ever wanted to add in something like structure like this, where maybe it's a small image over here and then text over there. Now we've got the capability to do that. Now, maybe I want to bounce this text down a little bit. So it's not at the top, it's more centered with the image. That's where I'm going to go to my padding. I'm going to go to more options. From the top, I'm going to add a little bit more padding, and you see how it gives me space on the bottom. So maybe I decide I don't want that whole section at all. I go click delete, and now we're back to where we were. So hopefully that gives you an idea of how easy it is to use this tool. When we're done, we click update. And that's it. Easy to use. The body, if you want to set your your defaults for this page before you get started. You might do that here. You can size up the content width to make it bigger if you want to, but know the size of the email deliveries. Usually you don't want it to be much more than 650 pixels. I want to change my background color, my default fonts, default link color, however it is. So hopefully this email really helps you, this video helps you understand how to create an email. And once you're good and ready to go, we go click send. And that will take us to our quick email blast where we've got our message. We select our recipients. Do we want to send it now or schedule it for later? And then obviously we need to select our recipients first. So let's leave for testing. So goes like that. Now it's checked. We've got our advance, confirm and send, existing message, leave for testing, when, send now, and click send. Very easy to create an email, very easy to send it out in CharityEngine.